Hi, I'm Don Dawson. Millions of employees seek medical treatment every year for injuries that happen on the job. But getting hurt doesn't have to be part of your job description. Taking inventory or storing supplies on a shelf, using a shredder, carrying a box of paper to the copier, or even just sitting at your desk. They're all common workday activities, and they're all ways you could get hurt. But you can avoid injuries by understanding the risks that exist in your office and taking positive steps to reduce or eliminate them. Let's start with the most common type of office accident. Believe it or not, when you work in an office, you're at least twice as likely as a non-office worker to suffer a disabling injury due to a fall. But you can reduce that risk by using a few common sense safety principles as you go about your day. First, remember to walk, don't run. You don't need to go any faster. And a walking pace is safest, even in an emergency. An equally important rule is, look where you're going. Using your eyes for something else as you're walking, like reading a report or looking at your cell phone, places you at risk. What should you be looking out for? Here are a few tripping hazards you're likely to stumble over in today's office environments. Desk and filing cabinet drawers that have been left open. Office supplies stacked in walkways or other floor clutter. Computer cables, power cords, and telephone wires that are underfoot. Torn carpet or loose flooring. You can also encounter serious slipping hazards whenever rainwater or other liquids get onto smooth or polished floors, such as in foyers and entryways. It's a danger that's easy to miss. Be especially careful during wet or snowy weather. Be sure to wipe your feet when you come in from outside. Look for beverages or other spills in the break room too. If you spill something yourself, clean it up. But no matter how alert you are, you won't be able to see any hazards if there's not enough light. So make a note of burnt out bulbs and malfunctioning light fixtures. Replace or report them. And talk to your supervisor about areas that are always too dark. More light in the right places will make everyone in the office safer. Are you sitting down? I have some shocking news. While some accidents happen to us, others happen because we put ourselves at risk. Even doing something as simple as sitting in a common office chair can get us in trouble. Because sometimes we use chairs and other office furniture in ways they weren't designed for. One very risky form of chair abuse is tilting backward with your feet up on the desk so you can work more comfortably. But there's nothing comfortable about falling over backwards. So keep all your chair's legs on the floor at all times. Standing on a chair to reach something is another dangerous move. It may seem like a time saver, but it's really just a quick way to fall down and get hurt. Use a footstool or a ladder instead. They're designed to do the job safely. Office chairs get a lot of use, and eventually they wear out. To make sure yours doesn't let you down, inspect it for loose or damaged parts and cracked welds. If you find a problem, tag the chair broken and remove it from service. Misusing office tools is another good way to get hurt. Pounding on a stapler to make it fasten more sheets of paper than it was designed to handle is a bad idea, unless you actually want to damage the nerves in the palm of your hand. It doesn't pay to overload paper cutters either. Trying to power the blade through too much paper will do a lousy cutting job and could injure you in the process. What's your hurry? take some of the paper out and make several smaller cuts instead. And watch out for that blade. It'll cut your fingers and hands just as easily as it cuts paper, so keep them out of the way. Speaking of sharp objects, scissors, push pins, and utility knives can easily hide in clutter on your desktop or work table. You don't want to find out the hard way that they're in there. Store sharp tools and materials in their own special drawers or containers separate from other supplies. We don't usually think of paper as being dangerous, but its sharp edges can and will cut you. You can prevent this painful experience by using finger guards. You can even get sliced by the flap of an envelope. So moisten them with a sponge instead of licking them. It's safer and more sanitary. Shoes that don't fit not only feel uncomfortable, but over time they can actually injure your feet. The same principle applies to your workstation. If it doesn't fit you, it can lead to problems with your neck, back, hands, wrists, even your eyes. The study of preventing these types of problems is called ergonomics. When you set up your desk, chair, and computer using ergonomic principles, you can do your work in a posture that relieves physical stresses instead of making them worse. The first step is to adjust the height of your chair. You should position it so when your forearms are flat on your work surface, they form an angle between 90 and 120 degrees with your upper arms. Next, you need to focus on your lower body. The better support your chair gives to your lower back, hips, and thighs, the less strain you'll feel and the less chance of injury. So your thighs should be roughly parallel to the floor and your knees about the same height as your hips, with your feet placed slightly forward. Your feet need good support too. If they're resting flat on the floor after you adjust your chair, you're all set. But if your feet are dangling, that will stress your back, so you'll need to use a footrest for proper support. Lastly, adjust your computer keyboard so you can keep your wrists flat as you use it. This flat wrists position helps to prevent a painful workplace injury called carpal tunnel syndrome. If the keyboard itself won't adjust, you can put a wrist pad or even a rolled up towel in front of it to get the same result. You might also need to raise your seat height a little. Computers make many of our office tasks easier, yet it seems that our eyes are working harder than ever. Doctors have given this problem a name: computer vision syndrome. Symptoms include dry, irritated eyes, blurred vision, and headaches, even neck and shoulder pain. Sound familiar? Let's see what we can do about them. It's no wonder our eyes get dry and irritated. When we're focusing on a computer screen, we blink at only about half the normal rate. So make a habit of consciously blinking more often when you do computer work, and use lubricating eye drops or artificial tears if you get really dry. Another way to take the strain off your eyes, as well as the muscles in your neck and shoulders, is to position your computer's monitor correctly. Its screen should be 16 to 27 inches away from you. The top of the screen should be at or just below your eye level. By the way, when was the last time you cleaned your computer screen? You're just asking for eye strain if you let your monitor get dirty. The screen's electrical charge attracts dust. Unless you clean your screen regularly, the images will just get harder and harder for you to see. Before cleaning, power down your monitor. Then use disposable wipes made specifically for cleaning monitor screens. Rub gradually in small circles across the screen. Avoid putting direct pressure on the surface. Do this on a regular basis. Your eyes will appreciate it. And give them a rest now and then. Take occasional breaks to focus your eyes on something at least 20 feet away. Or you can simply switch to a different task, like filing. Electrically powered tools are so commonplace in our offices that it's easy to forget that they can be dangerous. Printers, fax machines, paper shredders, calculators, copiers, we couldn't get through a workday without their help. But their motors drive moving parts like rollers, belts, gears, and blades that can pinch, crush, or cut your fingers if you let them. So keep clear of the moving parts of any powered equipment. Don't remove protective guards or open any access panels when the machine is running. Loose clothing, hair, or jewelry can sometimes get caught in the works if you're careless. Another threat that copiers can pose is to your eyes. The lamps in many copiers are bright enough to do real damage, so keep the document cover down when the machine is operating. If you can't close the cover completely, make sure you look away from the light and close your eyes. Copiers and printers too use toner powder, which can irritate your skin and your eyes. Although the use of toner cartridges does reduce the risk of toner spilling, it's still a good idea to handle them carefully. If any toner powder does manage to leak out, clean it up right away. Then wash your hands and face thoroughly. The electricity that makes office equipment go can be dangerous as well. A frayed or cracked power cord can give you a severe shock or even start a fire. Make a habit of checking the cords on the equipment you use. If you discover any problems, don't plug them in. Take the equipment out of service and call the repair person. Power strips and multi-plugs make it easy to connect many pieces of equipment to a single receptacle. But that's asking for big trouble. Overloading an outlet can draw enough excess power to overheat the wires inside the walls, and that can cause a fire. To avoid overloading, use an extension cord to plug some of the equipment into another socket. But keep the cord out of the way, or tape it down to prevent people from tripping over it. And remember, an extension cord is never a permanent solution. If there aren't enough receptacles, talk to your supervisor about having more installed, or consider moving some of the equipment to another area. Picking up and moving office supplies, stacking materials on shelves, and filing. Everybody who works in an office does these things at least once in a while. But lifting things the wrong way can hurt your back. Storing them can be tricky as well. And even filing has its pitfalls. Let's look at how to do these things safely. Step 1 in safe lifting is always think before you lift. Do you really want to lift and carry that object by yourself? If you have doubts, ask a coworker for an assist or use a hand truck or dolly. When you are making a lift by yourself, remember to get close to the object, bend at the knees, keep your back straight, lift with your legs. When it's time to put the object down, keep your back straight, bend at the knees, and lower it using your legs. You might not think so, but sometimes storing office materials can be hazardous as well. Putting too much weight near the top of a bookcase will make it top-heavy, which could cause it to fall over. Overloading the shelves could result in them collapsing. In either case, you or a coworker could be struck by falling objects and seriously injured. Avoid this risk by loading the bottom shelves first, then working your way up. Don't overload any shelf, and never put heavy items on upper shelves. You should use caution when filing too. A filing cabinet's sliding drawers shift large amounts of weight back and forth. This makes the cabinet very sensitive to the way you load and use it. Just like with bookcases, putting too much weight in the upper drawers will make it dangerously top-heavy and easily tipped over. Opening 2 or more of the drawers in a filing cabinet at once can also make it tip forward. To avoid tip overs, load filing cabinets from the bottom up. And never open more than one drawer at a time. And don't forget to close drawers when you're done with them. As we've seen, people can get hurt bumping into drawers that are left open. Today's office is loaded with flammable materials like paper, plastic, and furniture. Even carpeting can burn. And with nearly 100,000 fires occurring in commercial buildings every year, fire safety is a crucial part of staying safe in the office. Here, the watchwords are prevention and preparation. Fire prevention goes on all the time. You can do your part by watching out for unsafe situations. Don't let paper or discarded packaging accumulate near electrical connections. And take care when using flammable liquids and aerosols. Fires can't start if you keep flammable materials away from sparks or flame. If you're a smoker, you can help prevent fire by smoking only in designated areas. Dispose of butts and used matches properly so they can't ignite anything. But in spite of our best efforts, fires do happen. That's why your company has prepared a detailed action plan to cope with these types of emergencies. This plan is available to all employees. You need to familiarize yourself with it so you know ahead of time what to do if the worst occurs. You should also prepare yourself by learning at least 2 evacuation routes from your work areas. That way you'll have an alternate if your primary route is blocked. You'll find these routes marked on the emergency exit diagrams that are posted throughout your facility. If you discover a fire, pull the fire alarm immediately. Don't try to extinguish a blaze unless you have been trained and authorized to do so, and you have the proper type of extinguisher. When you hear a fire alarm, proceed immediately to an exit and leave the area. You can set a good example for your coworkers by remaining calm. Walk, do not run. Never use an elevator during a fire. The fire stairs are the only safe way out. Once you're outside the building, report to your designated gathering point and let your fire warden know you're safe. As we've seen, you can work more safely at your office if you pay attention to the risks and take steps to avoid them. Let's review. Use office furniture, implements, and materials the way they were designed to be used. Set up your workstation to minimize the physical stress on your body. You can reduce eye strain by keeping your computer monitor clean and resting your eyes regularly. To avoid falls, pay attention to where you're going and look out for common slipping and tripping hazards. Remember that powered equipment can hurt you and use it with caution. Lift office materials safely and avoid overloading shelves and filing cabinets. Do your part to prevent fires and be prepared if one occurs. Once you've identified the risks and determined how to avoid them, you can get even more done in your office and do it safely.